But when we got to this ranch, I've already shared with you, I had not a clue what we were doing. Emery Birdwell knew this was an opportunity of a lifetime for him. That's what he calls it. It was an opportunity of a lifetime to take all that he had learned, all that he had been experiencing, and putting to practice on leased land and be able to come together and put it together here in this ranch. He said in a recent film recently, and I didn't even hear him say it, didn't know that he felt this way, but he said it took him about 2 to 3 years to realize that he, along with Capital Farm Credit, that we owned this ranch together and he didn't have to worry about what the lessor thought about what he was doing to the land. We knew it was a blessing. He was fully engaged with every aspect of the ranch. He made every decision. He did all the marketing. He did where the fences were going, how the water systems, how to feed the cattle, when to buy the cattle, when to sell the cattle. Sure, I could go out and feed them in a tractor. I could go move them. I can write a check and I could pay the bills, but I had no real engagement in that ranch. It all fell on Emery Birdwell's shoulders. And when he did take some time off, what he wanted to do was go take time off with his bird dogs. He doesn't even like to hunt, but he wanted to go take time with the bird dogs. I tried to learn what we were doing. I even went to an early HMI workshop and spent a week here in Albuquerque in about 2005 trying to figure out what this was all about. And don't tell Aunt Adams, but it didn't take. It just didn't take. And I'm an old hippie. You'd think this thing would have taken, right? We're talking about holistic, touchy-feely kind of stuff. Surely to goodness I could figure out what we were doing. But no. I went to every workshop you can imagine, every wildlife workshop, every cattle raisers workshop. I went to Ranching for Profit. You name it, I've done it. And because I still couldn't find how to get engaged properly in the ranch, I'm there to support it. I'm there in physically some of the times. But then I started getting involved in so many outside activities that I was rarely at the ranch. If I was at the ranch, I was working on things that took my mind away from what was so important out there, and I was working on fundraising or membership efforts. And if there's a board out there, I was on it. I was on it. Hospital, hospice, chamber, church, Texas Wildlife, Texas Conservation Society, Historical Society. I can't even remember them. If there was a board to be on, I was on it. And you know why? Because I felt like I could do something and accomplish something there because I knew how to take care of problems and work through them and help those boards do what they needed to do for those organizations. At the ranch, I had no clue what we were doing. And I hate to tell you this, it makes me sad that it took 10 years for me to figure out what we were doing. And it was because of that dadgum big herd. That big herd garnered so much interest at the ranch that we started having people come from all over to the ranch and want to know what we were doing and ask us to go talk about it. Emery Birdwell is a man of few words. He don't want to leave the ranch. Guess who's here talking today? But let me tell you what, it was a sham. I was a farce. It was a farce. All I was doing was regurgitating the words that he told me to say because I didn't understand what we were doing. And there came a time when I had to tell myself, and this is again pertinent because of that social leg of the three-legged stool and why sometimes it's not equally treated as is environmental and economic. But when I realized what I was doing to not only the ranch, but to myself, my soul was parched. I was like those overgrazed pastures that we found when we first moved to this ranch. And I had to have a come to Jesus meeting. And that come to Jesus meeting meant that I needed to give up all that stuff out there if I really wanted to be part of something regenerative, if I really wanted to contribute to the social fabric of my family and make changes. And so, as Ann told you, in 2014, I went to Emory and said, the only way I can do this is if I commit to the Certified Educator Program, where I'm going to have to learn this for myself. And then I can talk about our experience from my perspective not regurgitate what you're telling me. It was a major shift. And the life-changing event during that course, and some of you are probably going, where is she going now? But just hang with me. The life-changing event for me was when, you know, as a certified educator, you have to facilitate and mentor people. And so I went to Emory and said, I need someone to practice on in terms of developing a holistic goal. Are you in? Well, of course he wasn't. He didn't want to do that. And I said, so under what condition? And yet he had been practicing holistic management since the 1980s, right? It's that piece we leave out. It's that piece we leave out. I said, under what conditions will you sit down with me and we develop a holistic goal? And he said, 1 hour and use my words. You see, I had put together some holistic goals in the past, and they were lofty. Because isn't that what we're about? We're about changing the world, so we need lofty words and embellished sentences in our holistic goals. Oh goodness, we're at 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to hurry. So what happened was when I sat down with him, I gave him his 1 hour, and I've listened to him. My mentor, Cindy DeVergstein, said, put your educator hat on when you talk to people. Get yourself out of the middle of it and put your educator cap on. So when I asked Emory what were some of the behaviors, what were the quality of life statements that he would want in the holistic goal, and he said, I want some free time with my bird dogs. And maybe you. And I am like, free time with your bird dogs? You can't. I remember the holistic goals got to be lofty and big and change the world, and you want free time with your bird dogs. But I remember that educator's cap, and I also remembered to respect him for where he was. And I pulled back, and I listened to him. And our holistic goal does say, we have a few other words in that, but we want to enjoy brief times with our family, our friends, and our bird dogs. If you come to my office, you'll see that holistic goal tacked to the wall behind me, and you'll find that phrase in there.